Let's talk about the universe where death finally came for Wade Wilson. So we fast forward to the end of a known universe where death is literally on her knees begging. As it would turn out, her assailant is none other than the famed Merc with a Mouth himself. She doesn't understand why Wade is doing this. She didn't think he wanted to live forever. She tries to plead with him that without death, life will have no meaning. But before Deadpool can put the final nail in the coffin of the Grim Reaper herself, a mech suit Deadpool shows up to save the day. The two begin to duke it out, and Wade is absolutely pissed. Mech suit Deadpool tells little Franklin Richards to use the Infinity Gauntlet he has to snap everything back to normal, and as the universe heals and resets to the way that it was before Deadpool started his mission, he becomes extremely pissed as he starts raining down a bunch of devil-spawned Infinity rounds. As he's firing his cascade of magic bullets, he says, "Do you understand how many demons I had to give a happy ending to even get these?" But eventually the mech suit Deadpool gets the better of the regenerating degenerate and cuts off all of his limbs. Now Deadpool's calling this other version of himself an ingrate and says that you don't understand. I'm doing this for you. And as the suit begins to open up, the voice says, "No, you aren't. I've told you a dozen times that I don't want this." As Deadpool's not so little girl anymore, Ellie steps out and tells her dad that he has to stop. She tells him that he's doing this for himself, that he's not strong enough to watch his own daughter die. She tells her dad that it's over, that his stupid scheme failed. As he begins to tear up, Deadpool tells her that this isn't fair. He's the Emperor of Turdville who's never amounted to nothing, and he gets to live for forever. Now Ellie gets down and starts taping her dad's limbs back on for him and calls him a softie. She says that she's 97 and things are breaking down the way they're supposed to. And Deadpool screams at her and tells her no, that in 15 minutes when his limbs grow back, he's gonna chokehold this universe into submission to make sure that his little girl doesn't die. But Ellie understands her dad's pain. She gives him a hug and tells him to come here, you big idiot. And as he's sobbing, Wade says, "Ellie, you're so good, you're so damn good, and it's just not fair." Wade can't exist in a world without her, and she tells him she understands, so that's why she made him this. As she reveals a bunch of neutrino bombs tethered to a black hole. She says the bombs will incinerate them before their brains could even register the light, and then a billionth of a second later, the black hole will swallow them up and collapse on itself. Wade points out that she says us, and she said what kind of daughter would she be if she wasn't by her dad's side when the infamous Deadpool finally bit the big one. He makes Ellie promise that there won't be anything left of him to regenerate from, and she says not a single atom. And as Wade is sobbing, he says, "Ellie, I'm so glad it's going to be you." Ellie gets down on her knees and hugs her dad around the neck and tells him that she loves him. And he says after all these years and all he's taught her, that's the best she can come up with, and she chuckles and says, "Fuck you, Dad." And Wade says, "That's my girl. Fuck you too, Ellie Belly," as the explosion happens and death finally gets her cold hands on Wade Wilson. And I mean that quite literally, because we see Wade's spirit after dumping that hot bag of diapers he called a body, saying he's ready to bone death in the afterlife.